Hello there, so recently episode 4 of Helluva Boss came out, so that means that we now have a total of 4 episodes as well as the pilot now. So I thought it would be cool to go through and recap on all of the episodes thus far. Also, this should be obvious, but this video is gonna have a lot of spoilers for Helluva Boss, basically spoiling the entire series, so if you don't want to be spoiled, make sure you've watched the series before watching this. Also, I'm gonna do a second series recap once all 8 episodes of season 1 comes out, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, enough talking, let's get to it, starting off with the pilot. The episode starts off with Blitz asking his employees for ideas on how they can get the business drumming up again. Millie suggests a car wash, however Blitz is quick to dismiss it because it's hell and no one gives a shit about their cars being clean. Blitz comes back by suggesting a billboard, however Moxxie isn't too keen on it because it's pricey. Blitz then goes ahead and reminds his employees on the service in which they provide. Moxxie then explains how Blitz used all of their salaries to pay for a TV advert. That ad being none other than their promotion for their business IMP, aka Immediate Murder Professionals. In this advert, Blitz explains what exactly their business does. Can basically screw up anybody who screwed you over when you were alive. Afterwards, we hear the company's jingle, which is interrupted because Moxxie accidentally shoots a child when attempting to shoot a woman. The child is then headed to hospital and the doctors revive him. Moxxie, Millie, and Blitz are then all kicked out of the hospital because Blitz doesn't know what insurance is. Moxxie then blames this incident on Loona, a hellhound who is also the company's receptionist. However, Blitz defends Loona and says that she didn't do anything wrong. Afterwards, we get an insight to Loona's character. We also learn that Loona was actually adopted by Blitz. Afterwards, Stolas phones up who wants to talk to Blitz. Blitz then explains about how he got the book which he uses to travel to Earth. He got it because he slept with Stolas. Anyways, the reason that Stolas was phoning is because there was someone on Earth who was trying to convince the population that global warming exists. And then this happens.
I want to choke on that red of yours, your and lick all of your before taking out your and with more teeth until you're screaming like a fucking baby. Eat this. And then you know that bridge over the freeway?
Yeah?
Shit off it.
Afterwards, we get some more entertaining conversation, which doesn't have any significance to the plot. Moxxie then complains about the fact that Blitz constantly comes to Moxxie and Millie's home outside of working hours. Moxxie proceeds to argue with Blitz, and soon enough Millie and Loona are also involved. However, then we get the big reveal. The kid that was shot is actually in hell with them and ain't dead. The kid talks about how he wants to die, and then he insults all of the employees. After that happens, Loona then receives a text from the client saying that the kid actually was the target the whole time. Blitz then pulls out a gun, shoots the kid, they all beat the shit out of him, then they saw him, and then they put his remains in a bag. It then cuts to the news, and the child's mum is talking about the missing child, and then they come out of the portal and they hand the bag with a dead kid in it. The end. Episode 1 begins with a flashback to when Mrs. Mayberry was alive and she was teaching students at the Puppies Junior School. All the students sing a nice innocent little song, and then one of the students reminds the teacher that on the day that this was, it was actually Mrs. Mayberry's husband's birthday. She then breaks into a sweat because she totally forgot about her husband's birthday and didn't get him anything. Then one of the students suggests that the teacher should phone up the husband and wish him a happy birthday surprise. Mrs. Mayberry phones her husband, but oh no, looks like the husband is cheating on her. They accidentally answer Miss Mayberry's phone call because they throw a condom and it hits the screen. Miss Mayberry and the students see what's going down, and obviously, the teacher is pissed off. In a rage, the teacher harms one of the students, then goes home, murders the husband as well as the person that he was cheating on, and then proceeds to kill herself in front of all of the students. Afterwards, we go down to hell back to present time, and we see Mrs. Mayberry in her demon form who is telling the entire story to Blitz. Mrs. Mayberry then says that the woman that she attempted to kill, whose name is Martha, actually survived the shot and that all the people on Earth are saluting her and calling her a hero. We then see Moxxie, Millie, and Loona, and Moxxie is attempting to shoot an image of a family, but however, Moxxie's having second thoughts about wanting to shoot an innocent family. Blitz then comes in and introduces them to the newest client. Moxxie accidentally fires, knocks down some eels, and sets the building on fire. After that, they use their book, go for the portal, and then they're on their way to kill the family. When outside the home, Blitz attempts to shoot Marfa. However, Moxxie throws him off and he shoots a mirror instead. The family gets angry, they pull out their guns, and it's hunting time. Millie attempts to stab Ralphie. However, he hits her across the face with a bottle, knocking her out unconscious. On the other hand, Moxxie has been kidnapped by the two children. And guess what? The two children are psychopaths. They have like a whole slaughter room. Blitz is hiding behind a tree to be hidden away from Marfa. However, he receives a phone call from, of course, Stolas. Stolas talks about how he needs his book back so that he can do his job. And they come to an agreement that basically once a month on the full moon, Blitz returns the book to Stolas, followed by a night of sexual intercourse. However, the phone call is interrupted because Marfa actually gets a hold of Blitz. It cuts to Moxxie, who is actually able to break free of his kidnapping. Afterwards, we see that both Blitz and Millie have both been captured by Marfa, and she attempts to put them on fire, but since they're demons from hell, that doesn't actually work. She was about to shoot them, but Moxxie saves the day and kills Marfa. Moxxie sets Millie and Blitz free, and then returns to the home so that Moxxie can get the phone, and then contact their authorities so they can make sure that they're dealt with. However, before Moxxie goes into the portal, a helicopter piles up and explodes the house with the remaining family members inside. And finally, we see the ending, which is where we see Blitz, Millie, Moxxie, Miss Mayberry, and Loona all celebrating the fact that they had murdered a family. The end. The primary focus of episode 2 would be the character development of Stolas as well as his family. Stolas is woken up in the middle of the night because of his daughter named Octavia, who is crying. Stolas goes into Octavia's bedroom, comforts her, and sings her a lullaby to put her back to sleep. The reason why she is crying is because she had a nightmare. We then discover that was actually a flashback when we see what Octavia looks like in present time. She's now an older teenager. Octavia wakes up to Stolas and his wife, Stella, fighting, and this seems to be the normal because she's just kind of casually walking by. It seems to happen all the time in an abusive relationship. Octavia goes to the kitchen in which her parents are both fighting. Stella leaves the room and Stolas asks Octavia if she wants to go to a place called Lululand. Octavia used to love Lululand as a kid, however now she doesn't want to go because she says she's too old for it. Despite Octavia clearly not wanting to go to Lululand, Stolas still decides to go anyways. Stolas then phones up Blitz and hopes that Blitz will be their bodyguard when they're at the theme park. At first, Blitz disagrees because he's an assassin, however he agrees to do it because Stolas offers money. Blitz calls Millie and Moxxie and off they go to Lululand. As soon as they arrive, you can already clearly see how disappointed and how little Octavia cares. Moxxie and Millie encounter an animatronic dinosaur, which Moxxie thinks is pretty terrifying. Moxxie then talks about how he finds theme parks to be very disturbing, especially the theme park mascots. Then out of nowhere, the mascot of Lululand shows up, who is simply just called Lulu. Octavia states that Lululand is simply just a rip-off of the more popular place called Lulu World, and Moxxie walks off by calling the mascot a pervert. Millie then talks about how she used to go to Lululand before when she was a kid. Millie then brings Moxxie on her favourite ride from the theme park, which is called the Lawsuit, and Moxxie pukes afterwards. Meanwhile, Blitz is following Octavia and Stolas with his trusty old gun. They arrive at the circus and Octavia gets flashbacks to when she got terrified of the circus. We also see that Blitz used to be a clown that worked at the circus. Before entering the circus, Stolas is attacked by a group of imps, but Blitz shoots him. When they enter the circus, we are introduced to C.H.E.R.U.B, who is an animatronic clown/jester. Him alongside a lot of other animatronic monsters perform a song. Meanwhile, Moxxie and Millie are still roaming around the theme park. They find a carnival game where you can win a plushie that is just called Thing. Millie really wants to win a thing, so Moxxie slams down the money and tries to win. However, the carnival game is totally rigged. Cutting back to the circus, C.H.E.R.U.B is still performing his song. Afterwards, Octavia just leaves the circus and C.H.E.R.U.B recognizes Blitz and starts fighting him. Cutting back to Moxxie and Millie, we can see that Moxxie has blown a lot of money into trying to win this thing, however it isn't working. So then Millie has a go, totally misses it, but then the guy puts it down. What an asshole. Meanwhile, C.H.E.R.U.B and Blitz are still fighting and they're totally wreaking complete havoc and the theme park is literally getting destroyed. Meanwhile, Stolas is following Octavia, who has now wandered into a funhouse. When inside, Stolas notices that Octavia clearly isn't having any enjoyment or fun at Lululand. Octavia then opens up to Stolas and says how Stolas and Stella's relationship is affecting her. Stolas and Octavia then leave Lululand and while leaving, Stolas turns an imp to stone. Whilst Octavia and Stolas are leaving the park, you can see all the destruction and ruins in the background, and we also see C.H.E.R.U.B be eaten by some sort of dragon creature. that's basically it. Episode 3 begins with all 4 of the main characters within their vehicle. Blitz is driving and is singing a very offbeat cover of the song Mustang Dong. And right before they park their vehicle, their spot gets stolen. And who was it who stole the parking spot? Well, it was Verosika Mayday. Also happens to be Blitz's ex. Blitz and Verosika happen to argue for like a fucking minute. And we also see that Loona happens to be a fan of Verosika, because she's a pop star. Loona shies away from Verosika, and then we also meet Vortex, who is also a hellhound and is Verosika's bodyguard. After Verosika and Vortex leave, Blitz tells Millie to find a temporary spot to park the car, and then he tells Moxxie and Loona to come with him so they can handle this shit. When inside, Loona accidentally bumps into Vortex, and Blitz is quick to step in and separate the two. Well, it also looks like, though, that Verosika's room is right opposite the Imp's area because there wasn't enough room. Afterwards, Moxxie goes into Verosika and tries to reason with her, however, he gets sexually assaulted. Blitz is very pissed off with Verosika for fucking with his employees, so he challenges her to a challenge. Basically, the challenge is to see whoever does this the most. Either Verosika and her crew fucks as many people, or the Imps kill as many people. Who gets the most? So, they make the deal and they accept the challenge, and Blitz goes right back to his office and starts planning. He does the plan, and then after that, Loona suggests that she gets involved this time. Blitz immediately dismisses this request due to quote-unquote the freaks up there who like to drool all over her. Insert fourth wall break. Loona then talks about how she can blend in with the humans. Loona gets mad at her employees because they've been going to Earth the whole time without any disguises. So Blitz constructs a new plan, so Loona can lure all the people in and then the other 3 can kill them. Blitz then places a flyer to attract clients, and guess what? It actually works. Once in Earth, Loona turns into her human disguise form. Loona lures people in her human form and then Blitz, Moxxie, and Millie kill them all. Then Verosika goes on stage and starts performing a song, and the song hypnotizes all the people and makes them really, really horny. Loona falls for this spell and goes up to Vortex, who is also in a human disguise. Verosika throws her juice and it lands into the water and summons some sea monster. Loona goes up to Vortex and starts having a conversation with him, and it's clear that she really likes Vortex. She's also very nervous when talking to him. Blitz pops in, interrupting the conversation, and is mad at both Vortex and Loona for getting distracted from the job. Blitz and Loona argue, and then Blitz stomps off and allows Loona to have a break. Meanwhile, Millie and Moxxie are still on task and continuing to do kills. However, Moxxie is picked up by someone and mistaken for a possum and thrown into a bottle of beer. Millie sets Moxxie free from the bottle of beer, and guess what? Moxxie is pretty drunk. But then the sea monster arises, and he has grown so much that he looks like some overpowered Godzilla looking bitch. The sea monster starts trampling on humans and then using its mega tongue, wraps it around and takes Moxxie. But Millie certainly ain't gonna let that shit happen, so she goes up to a guy and steals his vodka, lights it on fire, throws it at the beast, and the sea monster falls into the water. Millie then gets inside the mouth of the beast, and Moxxie's in there beating the shit out of the beast's tonsil, and then Millie cuts a bit off of his tongue. Millie then manages to get into the belly of the beast and cuts it open, and kills it. Afterwards, Blitz, Millie, and Moxxie go and confront Verosika and her crew. Blitz then says he'll keep the whole thing about them summoning a sea monster a secret if they let them have the car spot, to which she agrees to. Blitz and the crew rub it in her face a little bit, tease her, and then they leave. And then finally, when Verosika and her crew are leaving, they are stopped by the police. The end. Episode 4 begins in heaven with 3 characters called the C.H.E.R.U.Bs. It's the C.H.E.R.U.B's job to help people who are suffering on Earth and to prevent them from dying. The C.H.E.R.U.Bs then sing a happy song about saving people. Obviously the Imps ain't having any of that, so Blitz shoots the TV that had the C.H.E.R.U.Bs on it. Moxxie puts down another TV and they flick through some shows and channels and they find a thing called Wacky Wally Wackford's Wacky Idea Factory, and Blitz shoots that TV as well. Luna's cup of water falls over and everything starts shaking. Everyone panics because they think it may be a hell shake. Moxxie doesn't panic because he claims that hell shakes don't happen. Loona gets angry at him and tells him to stop getting hysterical and whacks him across the room. Moxxie hits into the wall and something breaks through the wall and squishes Moxxie. We are then introduced to C.H.E.R.U.B, who considers himself eccentric and also says he's the inventor of all things loopy and loopish. C.H.E.R.U.B then shows the image of the man in which he once killed. Blitz is very impressed because C.H.E.R.U.B has just died and is already plotting revenge. C.H.E.R.U.B talks about who the man was and why he wants him killed. The man is called Lyle and is also his business partner. They had a business called Lyle C.H.E.R.U.B Robotics. Lyle and C.H.E.R.U.B were testing a machine that was meant to stop a reverse aging process. They were so sure of this machine that they went into testing the themselves, but they didn't know that they had a switch pulled to old, and it turned Loopty and Lyle both into old men. Loopty dies of a heart attack, and then he wants to kill Lyle because he doesn't want Lyle to take the credit of the business that they made together. When on Earth they go to Lyle's house, and for this episode they actually have disguises. Looks like they took Luna's point into account from episode 3. The three look through Lyle's window and see him wishing goodbye to his one true love. Money. Lyle then ties a noose and attempts to suicide, but then the cherubs arrive. The cherubs have arrived to prevent Lyle Lipton from committing suicide. Now obviously the imps want Lyle to kill himself, so they break in and attempt to encourage Lyle to continue to kill himself. The cherubs fight back against all the claims that the imps make and then bring Lyle out into the public to show him some of the wonders of the world. Firstly, the cherubs bring Lyle to show him how beautiful nature is. Blitz then shows Lyle what nature is actually like when up close. Lots of gore and murder and terribleness. The cherubs then bring Lyle to a shopping mall where they show him a bunch of innocent and joyful children who are all around Santa Claus. However, Blitz and the other imps are there to show the dark truth, so they rip off Santa's suit and show what the man looks like under that suit. This terrifies the kids as well as Lyle. The cherubs bring Lyle to a place called Lover's Lookout, and Lyle talks about how he's never been in love before. However, Blitz and all ruin it by saying that no one's ever gonna wanna fuck him. The cherubs then bring Lyle to an area to showcase all the wonders of art and music. Blitz is up messing around, moving around the spotlight, and then the spotlight falls down and kills the singer. The cherubs have had enough of the imps trolling them, so they go up and start arguing with the imps, and then they get into a huge fight. Lyle sees that the imps and cherubs are going to such limits for the life of Lyle, so he understands that his life must mean something and he should cherish it, and then he no longer craves death. Cletus and Blitz are up fighting, and then Cletus actually knocks a thingy-majigger down, it falls down and sends a piano, and it kills Lyle, so technically that means then that the cherubs had actually killed Lyle rather than helping him. Afterwards, the cherubs attempt to go back into heaven, however they are kicked out. They are not allowed to get back into heaven because their actions resulted in the death of a human, so they got locked out of heaven for eternity. Back in hell, Blitz talks about how Lyle is probably now in heaven and that they fucked up. But then out of nowhere, Loopty breaks in again, and so does Lyle. Lyle has ended up in hell, and the reason why he's in hell is because, well, throughout his life, he was experimenting on the P.E.R.R., so that sent him down to hell. The episodes end with Wally Wackford somehow just appearing in the headquarters, and Blitz just tells him to fuck her way off. The end.
You were the spicy little demon with the bleach blonde hair, fiending for some semen.